And I'm getting word that setup for Ultima 6 is complete, so I'm going to throw it over to Gyre for his run. So take it away, Gyre.
Hello there, everybody. I hope you like some Ultima, because we've got some more Ultima here for you today. You've seen the beginning of the middle trilogy of the Ultima series, which is, by many fan standards, one of the best trilogies that they have had for this game. And I really like Ultima 6. This will be the original PC version I'm going to be playing on. And so, I think we need a couple of things, one of which is going to be the name for our main character. So if you can go ahead and close that off.
Oh, sorry about that. Give me just a moment here. I do believe that it is still going to be Spoony, but let me refresh. It is, in fact, Spoony with $163 raised.
All right, we will have a very spoony bard for our avatar today. Also, we'll have some lovely artwork. This is the avatar's living room, having come back from some perilous journeys in the land of Britannia. Notice that there is a pole dancing centaur in the background. There was originally a different picture meant to be included in the game, but at the last minute they discovered they didn't have the rights for it, but they knew a guy. And I think this is a much better replacement for whatever that original piece of art was going to be. All right, one problem is that my keyboard is not working here. Let's see if we can get that to function now. All right, I heard some beeping. That's hopefully a good sign. Windows is now happy with me. All right, so we have Spoony the avatar. Go ahead and use the box art avatar image because it's amazingly good. And so, I will do a countdown here and we will get started. In 3, 2, 1, go. Now the first thing that you have in Ultima 6 is that you haven't actually finished character creation. We're going to need to pick out our virtues, which are in turn going to determine what our character's stats are going to be. So let's say we'll take justice over humility. Humility is the worst stat. You don't really want that virtue at all. Let's go with spirituality over compassion. If you played Ultima 4 earlier today, you might know some of these. Let's say honor over honesty. Haven't seen the good ones yet. Okay, valor over sacrifice. This is actually not good that we're getting those two together. We want to have a lot of strength on our character. But I do have a backup in case things are a little bit off. And fortunately, with this run, it is relatively easy to fit that in. Okay, we'll put some more Valor in there. Valor gives me +3 strength, which is the best stat for us here. We will drink of the static, and we will see how we did on character creation. Also see, jumping into this game in progress. Basically, you are coming into Britannia, immediately being sacrificed by some gargoyles, and then find yourself in Lord British's throne room here. Where the first thing we have to do is answer some copy protection questions. So let's see. Lord Brittish is going to ask me a couple things. We have silver serpents have been seen that have been seen in tombs. Headlesses were produced by a wizard. And sea serpent attacked by fire. There we go. I've played for this game 3 times, but Lord Brittish still wants more money. Go ahead and activate our travel orb here. So we've got a fast travel, considerably better than that gate spell we had back in Ultima 4. This takes us to lots of locations. The first of which is going to be a nice relaxing lava bath for our companions. We're not going to need any of our friends here today, but there's no way to kick them out of the party. So what I'm going to do is have Dupree go ahead, jump into the lava here. We got Shimino as well. All the classic Ultima companions back for this adventure. And Yolo is here. Take their money as well. That'll probably be put to some good use. And their swamp boots. That'll be useful as well. All right, Yolo. Go join the bath, and let's see. Be useful for our fast travel later. The Orb of the Moon send us to a variety of locations based on where you are standing when you place it down. So there we go. We got our companions gone, and back to Lord British's castle we go. And we've got permission to take anything that we want out of the castle. Normally that's not true. You are encouraged as an avatar to have uphold virtue throughout your adventures. And we will definitely be doing that at all times with no deviations whatsoever. Move that stuff out of the way, grab a couple more pieces of gear here. And over at Nistel's room, we'll grab some stuff again. Totally okay to take stuff out of Lord Bruce's castle, including his mouse. So let's talk to Sherry and give her some cheese. Yep, totally coming with me now. Sherry the mouse is the best companion of all of the Ultima companions ever in history. And of course, one last thing to do, we have completed the tutorial section of the game, figured out how to escape from the castle itself, and now can go explore the world. Ultima 6 does not give you a lot of hints about where you need to go or what to do, but it does give you pretty fast access to lots and lots of places. First quest we're going to be doing is assembling the 8 ruins of virtue. So you might recognize a lot of these things from the previous game as well. All right, so I'd like a ruin, please. Says needs her parents' permission. Yep, totally got that. And 1 down, 7 more of those to go. Turns out there's lots and lots of deep and involved quest storylines that if you know where to go, who to talk to. Because there's nothing that spawns into the game, unlike a lot of modern RPGs, everything can just be found sitting here on the overworld. So there's another ruin that we have found. And with that, we are done with Sherry. Go ahead and send her home. She's a very smart mouse. She'll find her way back to Britain. I'm sure no problems. And I'm getting a little bit of lag from these birds here. Now this is, of course, a high-performance video game. They did say that you could play with an IBM PC or compatible, but I would recommend at least a 25 megahertz processor for the best experience. And of course, you want to have VGA graphics. Now, I know there has been a video card shortage of late, but if you can splurge to get your hands on a VGA card, highly recommend it. It does have 256 simultaneous colors. Go ahead and get some spells here as well. There's a big spell system, but I'm only going to be using 3 spells throughout this entire adventure here. And you'll notice that there is a pretty small amount of combat overall. We're going to try to avoid fighting as much as possible. Go ahead and grab one of our moonstones here. And for this particular route, I will also meditate at this altar. Meditation gives me a bonus to karma. And you'll notice that throughout the game, we might be doing some unchivalrous deeds. And that is a hidden stat that gets tracked. So if your karma gets too low, you actually can't finish the game. But by talking to the altar, you get a nice, quick, one-time bonus to it. This is enough for the route that we have planned in here. Go ahead, borrow some powder kegs. Don't worry, we will return them later. Drop that one down there. Now, someone has not secured their valuables, so we're going to make sure that they are taken care of. I'll turn these over to the proper authorities later. And it looks like I did have enough strength and character creation. There is a very fine line in terms of can you hold all of these barrels at once, otherwise you have to take a second trip back to this town later on. And there's only a 1 in 7 chance that you don't get the strength that you need. So most of the time, you're going to be okay with the randomized choices that get presented at the start of the game. Now here we have a little bit of travel and questing going on, so an excellent time to start talking about having our host introduce some of the upcoming games incentives. Read some comments. Take it away, host.
Thank you so much. We have $13 from Dark77778. Thank you so much again for your generous donations. We have $5 from LLK, who says, really digging that hyper-realistic depiction of what television is like there. Donation goes for the FFX Skip Showcase. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you very much for that, Lindsay. Lindsay is an excellent artist, has done a lot of artwork for a bunch of marathons that you may have heard of, like Limit Break and Games Done Quick. Definitely check out her stuff. Go ahead and get Spell Field. All right, that's all the spells we're going to need for the entire game. You can read some more comments if you like to.
Certainly. NAMI, the National Alliance on Mental Illness, is the nation's largest grassroots mental health organization. They provide advocacy, education, support, and public awareness to improve the lives of all individuals and families affected by mental illness. NAMI exists to ensure that no one is alone on their mental health journey.
Awesome, and it is a great charity. I've been very glad to work with NAMI over the years for RPG Limit Break. We've been doing this since the very beginning of this event. And they have been a wonderful, wonderful group. By the way, here, this is a callback to Monty Python and the Holy Grail. We got some killer white rabbits patrolling around. That's why we're going to go invisible here so that we don't have to worry about them attacking us. One time only that we use telekinesis. That's one of our 3 spells that has been already deployed. And the other major one is going to be Dispel Field here. Now these fields, you may have seen energy fields in Ultima 4, but they got a variety of different types. We got the fire field, which we don't want to walk on. We got the lightning field, which prevents you from walking on it. Sleep field, which is really bad when you've got a single person. And poison, which is also pretty annoying. So we're going to try to avoid this as much as possible. Well, that's a mutant monstrosity blocking my door. Other than getting in my way, we try not to kill anything if possible. There is no need to get virtues or other things. That is assume that you're already the avatar coming in, so you've got plenty of valor, you got a lot of compassion. And so the things that you had to grind back in Ultima 4, all you need to do in Ultima 6 is maintain them to make certain that you are eligible to remain the avatar throughout the game. And as a side quest from all of the rune pickups that we have to do, there's another big quest in this game to get the balloon. And this is a ridiculously big quest, given that we only use the balloon to take 2 steps of travel. Oh man, all these mice. Gotta be an exterminator here. There we go. I think we got a pathway through there. As long as they do not see me, everything is cool. We got our balloon plans. And back to Moonglow for a second trip, this time down into the Moonglow catacombs. And many of these spots you might stumble across accidentally as you're exploring around. It's very easy in this game because you can travel to many places easily with the Orb of the Moons, that you might find yourself not knowing, is this a place that I can do something at? Is it a place that I can actually access everything? And that's one of the things that, when this game first came out, the major complaints, and it was generally well received, but there was certainly performance as an issue. On PCs there, it was kind of chugging at times. Very ambitious, though, technologically, and some of the quest storylines, in terms of just how much that you had to do and explore. I don't know what they're really complaining about. This is a game that seemingly is very short. So I feel like if we can beat this game in less than 25 minutes, then they had no excuse whatsoever. Heading over down to the Gargoyle realm here. Gargoyles are going to be one of the main focal points of this storyline. When you get introduced to the world, Lord British is telling you about how these evil gargoyles have invaded Britannia. It turns out Lord British is not very good at his job, so he has not identified what the true problem is. And let me give you a hint, it is Lord British himself. We will make sure that that is thoroughly dealt with by the time this adventure is over. Let's go ahead and learn the gargoyle language. This guy, Variable Dr. Un here, teaching us languages in seconds. And popping over to the town of Yu, we're going to start hitting nightfall. And this game does have a time cycle for everybody's activities, so they have a certain time of day that they go to their job, a certain time of day that they're sleeping, a certain time of day that they go to the bar and drink. And it's a really neat innovation that makes the characters way more lifelike involved, but makes speedrunning extremely difficult. Because you have to route around when people are going to be in the places that you need them to be in order to pick up all the things that you're interacting with. Now, let's take a little side trip. There has been a donation incentive to kill Lord British, and I happen to know one of his main weaknesses. Now, he's supposed to be invincible, invulnerable. He regenerates to full health in case you somehow manage to damage him every single turn, and he has an army of guards that will murder you and put you in prison if you commit any crimes. But fortunately, the elements of the perfect crime. First of all, to sneak in under the cover of darkness here. Second, to get a glass sword, which does a very large amount of damage in one hit. And then as we creep into Lord British's bedchambers, we have sent Sherry the Mouse to distract him by telling him a bedtime story. You see them right there. He does not expect what is about to happen, and as he crawls into bed, Lord British has been killed. Now, the guards are coming, so we are going to use the help spell to teleport us back to his throne room, which then de-aggroes the guards. And with that, we see that the throne of Britannia is now empty, And unlike some avatars, I'm going to save my game after killing Lord British because I mean it. We got a little bit more pickups to do. There is a handful more ruins left to go before we are finished with that part of the quest line. And of course, many of the things that Lord British has left undone over the years, he's not investigated the problem of spontaneous human combustion in the slightest. It is one of Britannia's leading killers. I don't know what has been causing it, but certainly I will investigate, find out why and who is doing these terrible deeds. Now, the reason to have those explosive barrels is because, again, you're on a karma system to make sure that you do not do horrible things to the world. And if you kill somebody accidentally with an explosive barrel, it does not count against your karma. So tricks like that are ways that you can kind of bend some of the rules the game has for you here. One last jaunty sailing trip. I love the tune that this boat plays every time I get into it. Just makes you feel like a pirate. Sit around here. Hopefully we do not get the sea serpent attack. It's a little bit faster to sail all the way down to the south, but for safety, I am going to take the overland route here and head into another little maze section. If you'd like to go and give us any more comments for the host, that'd be a great time to get those done while I'm picking up an item in here.
Sure thing. I apologize. I am going to mispronounce his name. So Nime donates $20 and says, "Too late to name the main character Dan, just in time to witness this run. Good luck, Gyre, and may your Vorpals be few. Also, trans rights."
Thank you very much for that. I'm sure if Dan was here, then we would have no problems whatsoever with anything going wrong in this run. So far, it's been going very well, in fact. Take a safety save just in case that does not happen. All right, that is probably a rock or a sheep or a cow. I can never really tell the difference between those things. And we're here in location of our final rune. Of course, I have figured out the puzzle immediately. Who is the most humble person of all? And with that, all 8 runes have been acquired. Let's go ahead and get some more balloon parts here. It's another one of the big quest lines that we have been working on. Grab one more piece. Swing back around. So earlier in the game, I planted this moonstone in the ground that created an extra travel gate. You saw the moon gates in Ultima 4. They work pretty much the same way, except you can move where they are located by waiting for them to close and picking it up off the ground. Let's go ahead and make a bag here. And of course, we'll need the moonstone later on, so I need to have it turned back into a stone form. Just hang out while it's chilling. There we go. Got our moonstone back, and now into the Gargoyle Village. We have learned something about the gargoyles. It turns out that in the events of Ultima 4 that you saw earlier today, they removed the Codex of Ultimate Wisdom from beneath the ground. That caused the Gargoyle Realm to start collapsing down. So the whole reason the Gargoyles are here and invading Britannia is actually Lord British's fault to begin with. And now that we have learned how to speak with them, we're now going to be on the side of the Gargoyles. We have turned coat, and we're going to go ahead and help them come up with some solution to preserve their realm. And it turns out the solution involves a very weird quest in constructing lenses. So I've got a broken lens here. We're going to go ahead and forge that up with the Gargish lens maker. It's got a really strange job considering that he only does one thing ever. I can spell lens. There we go. You might notice throughout this that it only uses the first 4 letters of inputs, except for one input coming up here. It's the only time the game ever expects you to have anything more than that. And that's a simplification of the conversation system, which was a really innovative feature at the time. Previous Ultimas had a limit to how complex conversations could be, and Ultima 6 really expanded on that. It also had a wonderful redesign of the overworld system. So instead of having like a square that you go into and say, this is where the town is, instead it's one continuous overworld map. And it's just a big 1,000 by 1,000 square grid that has all of the features of it. Yep, I've definitely been there on Oris. There we go. And with that, the next little bit is going to be picking up some moonstones. Lurbish has sealed these using the power of the runes. We're going to have to undo his incorrect work here. And while I'm doing that, great time to slip in any last-minute comments or plugs that you want to have for this.
Sure thing. We've got $15 from The Pizza is Aggressive. It's kind of scary if I'm being honest. With that, we are less than $150 away from the $11,000 mark. So please get your donations in. And don't forget, set your donations with any kind of incentives that you want. Once again, the FFX Skip Showcase, just $251 out of $3,000. You are not going to want to miss that.
Yeah, I definitely recommend, if you got some money here, go ahead, put it towards Final Fantasy X. I would love to see that showcase coming up here, and you've only got a little bit of time. Final Fantasy X is normally a very long game, but with the cutscene removal, it does go by very, very quickly. So be sure to contribute to that. And with that, we have picked up our 8 moonstones. Time to go form the human lens. Again, strange that there is a lens maker who has never seen a lens before, has never made a lens before, and is willing to try. So at least we got that to help us out here. No snake versus mouse battle. Sometimes there are some epic fights of the wildlife as you're traveling through here. And because we've never done any combat or leveling, we're actually really, really, really weak right now. So they're very dangerous to us. All right, go ahead and make that lens, please. And for you all, I do have a special bonus, something that I have not shown off before. But I figured that since we have killed Lord British, we should have a souvenir of our deeds there. Let's go creep back to where the scene of the crime was. Take our commemorative Lord British doll, now in my inventory, and head to the end of the game. We are almost done with Ultima 6. Let's put down our commemorative Lord British doll. We're going to put down the human lens. We're going to put down the Gargus lens. That's not where I've moved. Put the Gargus lens down. There we go. And with that, it is time. Ultima 6 has been completed. And the Codex of Ultimate Wisdom has exploded into tiny bits. Now, of course, this will anger Lord British, so his wrath cannot be stopped. Fortunately, though, we have the distracting blue lens to keep him occupied. And if it wasn't for one more slight problem, the gargoyles. You may remember the gargoyles. It turns out their critical lack of pants is something that has been plaguing Britannia as well. That has not been fixed, but one day we will stop it. And together, Lord British and us, we have indeed completed our mission here in Britannia. And we have done so in but a single in-game day. That is definitely a feat that you should report unto Lord British at Origin Systems. I am sure that he would love to know. In fact, if you beat an Ultima game and you want to tweet at Richard Garrett, he does respond to fans that have had a great experience with Ultima Games of the Year, like I have. This series, overall, extremely wonderful. I recommend picking up Ultima 4 on the NES that you saw earlier, Ultima 6 here on the PC, Ultima 7, one of the best games in the series as well, all really great ones to start off with. And with that, I am Gyre. This was Ultima 6, and I hope you enjoy the rest of RPG Limit Break. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much, Gyre, for that awesome run of Ultima 6. I just want to remind everybody that we have a fantastic suite of prizes available. Get your donations in for those if you're interested in getting the chance to win one of those. And we're going to throw you to some quick Twitch ads, but don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back to RPG Limit Breaks 2022. And with that, that is going to be the end of my hosting shift. Thank you so much for allowing me to do this. But I'm going to leave you in the very capable hands of some Diener.
Okay, thank you so much, Gar. My name is Sum Diener, and coming up, we've got the Final Fantasy X tasks. Before we get started, though, we've got an interview with Cleartonic and Coder Wilson, so we're going to send it over to them.
Hello, everyone. We're here at RPG Limit Break 2022, and we're getting ready for the Final Fantasy X AI TAS coming up soon. I'm Cleartonic. I'm joined by Coder Wilson, who is the mastermind of what we'll be seeing. So how you feeling?
Oh, I'm very, very nervous. I do want to call out before we get too far is that we're going to be cutting off the naming incentive for Titus right at the start of the run. So if you want to get in on that name, do it now before we get going.
Definitely. Okay, cool. So before we jump into talking about what we're going to be seeing at the next run here, we want to talk a little bit about what a TAS is and kind of just dispel some of the myths around it. So a TAS is tool-assisted speedrun, and typically it's a program that runs a series of scripted inputs to get the same desired result every time. So for a lot of older games, it's typically like you can think of it as like a machine or a computer doing the exact same thing every time. And typically for speedruns, for tool-assisted speedruns, the goal is to go as fast as possible. But we're going to be seeing a variant on that today with the AI TAS coming up in the Final Fantasy X. So you want to talk us through what the differences are and how it works?
Yeah, so the difference is that primarily when we add the word AI or VI, if we, syntax. But when we talk about that, what we're doing is we're changing it from a scripted, it happens the same way every time, to something that's a lot more dynamic and making decisions. The decision making is the core piece of it in real time as the game is running. That may be a decision as to what do I do next, or it may be a decision that looks down the road at some of the things that are going to happen in the future and makes decisions based on that. But the core of the difference from what you've seen in the past with TAS and what you're going to see today is that the TAS is literally going to be making the decisions in real time.
Got it. So it's almost programmed to be somewhat like a human thinking to try to figure out what decisions to make as opposed to just running down and doing the same thing every time.
Yeah, a lot closer to what a human would be, like the decision as step-by-step decision that a human would make during a run.
Got it. And some of this comes from integrating the real-time strategies, right? So it's a matter of taking what existing Final Fantasy X runners were doing and incorporating and trying to codify it so that the program can do similar things, right?
Yeah, and that kind of creates the foundation or the structure for the whole run. And then we kind of ramp it up to 11 with some of the things that the program can see into memory. It can see and respond to things that we can't see as a runner. In this game, if you know of the ability scan, it kind of reveals more information about an enemy, and we can kind of just scan directly into memory and see what we want to see without having to do that.
Yeah.
So kind of some cool things there.
Totally. So talk me through about some of the challenges of like what we're going to be seeing later. What are the stressful parts, the scary parts as you watch it all unfold?
Yeah, so there's a couple things I'm a little worried about today. First of all, the game itself could crash while the task keeps trying to run. And if that happens, we've got some backup saves we're going to use to recover from that. The second thing is that Blitzball, we did our best job to program the best strategies we know, but it's still possible that we could get an overtime or a very long run or even a Blitzball loss. That will not end the game. We have a recovery strat where we're going to dodge some lightning if we need to, but hopefully we can get that win and go from there.
Yeah, that's really cool that there's like, because it's making decisions, you've also programmed it to handle all of the bad situations and be able to work backwards. Like if you go down one path and something doesn't work out, it'll make up for it somewhere else because it's trying to think, hey, we need to make it all the way to the end of the game, right? So whatever we can do to get there as fast as possible.
And hopefully we'll be able to show the skip showcase later because that's an example of that where if you didn't get the skip, well, in traditional tasks, that would desync and you'd lose your run. But here we can say, oh, we didn't get the skip, and then follow a few backup strategies to get back in sync.
Totally. So talk to me a little bit about the inspiration for this. This is a massive undertaking, right? Many, many years of work.
Yep.
So how did you get into it? What made you want to do it, the whole thing?
So I first got into this, I got the idea first when I was watching TaskBot Plays Brain Age, somewhere around 2017, 2018. Just kind of had the idea in my mind. If we could see or recognize in code what was happening on the screen, we could maybe respond to that. Well, 2019, August, I found a program that would do that. It'd find a pixel and get the pixel color, and then, maybe 4 or 6 pixels, and you can figure out what's going on. And basically created the first generation of this project, which was very slow and inefficient based on reading the screen. And if you change things, it threw everything out of whack. And so it had to be a certain resolution and a certain size. We have since evolved much past that to where instead of reading the screen, we're reading the numeric values in memory. And much more efficient, very much more precise. We can, instead of just doing a set pattern of commands, we can move from point to point to point. And as soon as something happens, we know it. There's a lot more precision into what we're doing today than we did 3 years ago. And it's been a 3-year project to this point. I've basically been running Final Fantasy on a computer somewhere for the last 3 years without stopping.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's cool to see it. It's a team effort, right? Like you've done the majority of the work of corralling it, but having different minds, and you've got the RTA side of people like doing the routes and everything. Yeah. There's just a lot of people involved to make it work.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's some credit for the RTA community. They came out with a new strategy recently that we're going to show, and we were able to add that to the code very quickly. But yeah, I've written maybe 90+% of the code, and we've had contribution from some other people, and we got a QA guy that just runs it and crashes it constantly, and it's great. But yeah, no, it's definitely been a team effort. I probably could have made something move by myself, but without a lot of help and support and feedback from a lot of people, it really gets it to where it is today.
Totally. That's great. All right. So how are you feeling? You think it's going to go well? Are you nervous or what?
I think the task is going to work just fine as long as we don't crash the game. I am very, very nervous because this is basically for me the Super Bowl of programming this. It's been a very long time, so I'm a little nervous myself, but I think we're going to do just fine.
Great. Okay, cool. Yeah. Before we get into the next run, we're going to talk about upcoming prizes, which end at the end of this upcoming Final Fantasy X AI TAS run. So we've got Final Fantasy Ultimania archive books 1 through 3. These are really, really cool. If you're a fan, you've probably heard of Ultimania books before, if you're a Final Fantasy fan, but it's really cool. There's just so much detail and enemy designs and programming kind of schematics, and it's all just really, really cool. So there's 3 of these that are $15 to enter for a chance. And then also we've got the Cherry Chocobo Platter here, which is a really, really beautiful kind of chocobo design, and it's really cool. So $20 for that. Go to rpglimitbreak.com and check out the tracker for all the details. But yes, the end of this block upcoming for Final Fantasy X for all this stuff. So with that, we're gonna get started and get set up for the run, and we'll kick it back to the host, but stay tuned.
All right, thank you so much. Got some donations coming in, so I'd like to read some of those. Silver and Lulu of the Ethereal has a $100 donation. Thanks to Gyre for your excellent hosting. Much love from us and Ethereal. $25 from Sarissa Senshi, no comment, thank you very much. Angel of Pain donates $15. Ask my partner what Valifor should be named, as FF10 is his favorite Final Fantasy. Let's go chicken. $25 donation from Bismarck189 that says, as someone who suffered from depression and anxiety my whole life, I've always found an escape in video games, more specifically RPGs. The escape has brought me through enough difficult times in my life to realize the value that they bring is real and tangible. Here's to all the runners and people out there who suffer from mental illness. We all have value to bring to this world and deserve happiness and love. Thank you so much for that comment. $50 from the Axeman. No comment. Thank you so much for your Ultima 4 run earlier. And Mech Analyst Tom donates $100. Finally getting to my own donation. Thank you so much for RPG Limit Break for having me and allowing me to showcase Steam World Quest and help raise money for such a great cause in NAMI. Keep up all the amazing work and look forward to many awesome runs for the runners to come. A $100 donation from Wells that says, let's get that FF10 showcase, and another $100 from Axodan. Have been looking forward to this FF10 run after watching some of its development runs. Here's my contribution to meeting the FF10 Skips Showcase incentive, which, by the way, is going to be open and available to donate towards up through the end of this Final Fantasy X run. If you want to see that Skips Showcase, we are going to need to raise some more money. We're up to about $626 out of the $3,000 we need, so keep them coming, guys. Just a reminder, we've also got naming incentives for our main character, Tidus, Valifor, Ixion, and Bahamut. So if you want your names showcased on the run, make sure you get those in, especially for the main character, Tidus. That one is going to cut off right at the start of the run. Okay, setup for Final Fantasy X tasks will take a little bit longer. So we're still working on getting that as soon as we can. Just as a reminder, RPG Limit Break 2022 proudly supports the National Alliance on Mental Illness. To get involved in the fight against mental illness and the stigmas it can bring, reach out to NAMI via their state organizations or on Facebook, where they can be found as NAMI, or on Instagram and Twitter as NAMI Communicate. It's not a weakness to need help. Please reach out if you think you need help. Thank you. We've got some more donations coming in. The Alter Maven donates $5, says, the cutscene removal patch says, cut the ones that matter and run. Looking forward to the showcase. Also, let's name the D&D Heroes fam. Rob Draven donates $25 and says, we still have some incentives that are not met? Come on, everyone, we need to see that FF10 Skips showcase. And if you can't donate, please spread the word of RPG Limit Break and NAMI. Mental illness is very real, I know from personal experience, and NAMI does amazing work in helping so many people that suffer from this debilitating disease. Yep, thank you. As a reminder, you can find RPG Limit Break on Twitter. Use our hashtag RPGLB2022. We're continuing to get set up. I think we're getting pretty close, but got a few more things to take care of. $50 donation from Fakebook. Shout out to all the volunteers, runners, and anyone involved in making this event happen. Thank you very much.